Just as we close this program, I wanted to bring something into focus. We've talked a lot about Bitcoin at the individual level, what you all have seen in the community in El Zonte, and what people are doing all around the world. I mean, I agree with Miles and Mike that what has happened there is absolutely historic, and will be in whatever if we have history books. I'm not sure. Well, I don't think we'll not. Well, hopefully we still have books in 20, 30 years, but will be like has changed the course of history for sure. But let's not forget, 99.9% of Bitcoin users don't live in El Salvador. I mean, there are more Indian Bitcoiners who use Bitcoin than are Salvadorans that exist. So this is really this global phenomenon. We've tried to kind of show that to you through the the art in the back of the room and all the speakers. And this is not to be denied. I mean, this is a global revolution that's happening. And there might be good, there might be bad, but like we want this community to understand that, and that's why we brought everybody here. It is surreal that we have made the like nation state adoption this fast. I mean, most people who use Bitcoin didn't think that it would happen in 2021. They knew it was inevitable if they were believers, but they might have thought maybe 2025 or 8 or something like that. So it's all happening a lot faster than I think we all thought. And you're going to see other countries adopt it in the coming years. And that's just what's going to happen when you have kind of like harder money. Like in the same way historically, when like colonizers would go into countries, whether it be like Ghana or what is now New England, or you had wampum or glass beads or something as currency, and they came in with gold and they just wiped everybody out. This is what's going to start to happen in some countries with Bitcoin over the coming decades, especially as we go into a global macro environment of governments printing just unfathomable amounts of money and that becoming normalized. Like this is what you're seeing when you look at a Bitcoin price chart. You're really just seeing that if you flip it and you look at the dollar, you're looking at the hyperinflationary collapse of fiat currencies against this new asset as it monetizes. This is important to think about as we go into the next decade. And this is the start of something here that we're building at the Human Rights Foundation in terms of our desire to share this technology with you. Like we want you to be able to use it. We've gathered a whole bunch of people who want to volunteer their time and effort to help you understand how to use it and become first-class citizens of it. We don't just want you to buy something on, sorry, Cash App's great, but we don't just want you to buy it. Definitely buy it on Cash App, but then move it into your own wallet. We want you to be your own bank. We want you to be self-custody. We want you to use Lightning Network. We want you to coin join. We want you to mine at home. We want you to really be exploring all this stuff and take it up as a hobby, and it'll really be worth it. So look, I wanted to be grateful for all of you, and really where it all comes down to is where we started yesterday morning with Fode. And Miles hinted at this, but money's always been something that the powers that be control and has always been subjective. And I thought that Jimmy and Stefan did a good job of breaking this down. But essentially, like money has always been a political game, and there's always been a system where the money itself has some sort of subjectivity in it, right? And as soon as the tiniest little bit of subjectivity gets introduced into the money, the person with the most power and violence gets to control everybody else. And that might be the French in the case of West Africa. It might be the Chinese in the case of Burma. It might be the Americans in the case of 1960s, 70s, and 80s in Central America. Like in every part of world history, you've seen this. Now, for the first time ever, we have money that is really user controlled, and there is no any sort of subjectivity. It is objective. There is no discrimination possible. It does not care who you are, and that is to the people's advantage. So again, in the same way that I saw in the Oslo Freedom Forum in the decade from 2009 to 2019, nobody using encryption to everybody using stuff like Signal, that's what's going to happen with this technology in the coming decade. When we gather here in 2031, there might not even be a Bitcoin track because everybody's going to just be using Bitcoin. Like, I think we live in an interesting time when, like, there may not be Bitcoin conferences in the future because what do we go to like an email conference today? Like, I don't know. I don't know. But just what I wanted to conclude with is that we want to reach out to the human rights community. The human rights community is sadly kind of overlooked money and finance and kind of compartmentalized it as somewhere else in their brain. And we get it. Like, that happened to me too. Like, I was introduced by some Ukrainian activists to Bitcoin in 2013, and I didn't really pay attention to it for like 4 years, okay? So I was very skeptical. And I know you're gonna be skeptical also, but hey, we're here to be advisors as you go on your journey, because this thing's definitely changing the world. We've heard a lot about how the US government is gonna mint the $1 trillion coin. Bitcoin is $1 trillion freedom money. So that's kind of where we are today. So thanks again for coming. It was a huge pleasure to have both of you here to break down what's happening in El Salvador and this just incredible story of how this village in this country where people grew up as caretakers and never owned anything, ended up changing the world financial system is truly like beyond a Hollywood story. It's incredible, and it's only because of the hard work of the people like Roman, and the people like Jorge, and the people like Mike. And we're talking many, many years of hard work that, hey, if Bitcoin collapsed tomorrow, they would keep working with something else. Like, it's really about the community they've built. And the cool part is that the Oslo Freedom Forum is filled with those communities. We've got people here who are grassroots leaders who know hundreds of thousands of people in their countries. So that's what gave me the confidence to do this. Is I know we can replicate some of this stuff elsewhere, because we have the more important thing. Like, Bitcoin is a tool that we can use to achieve greater freedom, but you need the people to do it, right? And we have the people. So it's just a matter of connecting the dots. So thanks again for attending the Bitcoin Academy. We hope to see you in May in Norway. Thanks again to Miles. Thanks again to Mike. Thanks again to Aaron. We'll see you all later. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Alex.